The Art Gallery of Ontario is located in one of the most multicultural cities in the world. Yet, when I walk into the AGO, I don't see myself or folks who share any of my intersectional identities reflected in the art on the walls. I don't see art created by people who look like me. I don't see the diversity of this city, or this province, or this country reflected in the artwork. According to Professor Nicole Martins of Indiana University, there's this body of research and a term known as symbolic annihilation, which is the idea that if you don't see people like you in the media you consume, you must somehow be unimportant. Symbolic annihilation makes you feel as though you don't matter, as though your lived experiences don't matter, as though you don't exist. I'm Hanan Hazime, and I'm a multidisciplinary artist, creative writer, community arts educator, and creative writing instructor living in Toronto. I identify as a mad, neurodivergent, Lebanese-Canadian Shia Muslima. I am here today to take up space and claim a place for myself in the mainstream Canadian arts world by sharing my art with you. I want to show other mad folks, other neurodivergent folks, other racialized folks, other Arab Canadians, and other visibly Muslim women that we matter. Our voices matter. Our stories matter. We are important, and we deserve to have our art hanging on the walls of Canadian art galleries. We deserve to have our art performed at Canadian galleries and venues. We deserve to be seen and heard. Red, I write, is the color of life. Its blood, passion, rage, its menstrual flow and afterbirth, beginnings and violent end. Red is the color of love, beating hearts and hungry lips, roses, valentines, cherries. Red is the color of shame, crimson cheeks and spilled blood, broken hearts, open veins. Quote by Mary Hogan. In Red is a series of self-portraits which aim to challenge cultural binaries, labels, and identities imposed on Muslim women. There is a prevalent notion in Orthodox Islamic culture that wearing makeup in bright colors such as red is haib or inappropriate. The portrait of the inverted, heart-shaped red lips in the piece Haram invites the viewer to look at red lips from a different perspective and to consider whether there is actually anything inherently sinful about wearing red lipstick. The other two pieces, Modest and Meek and Shameless, contest some of the opposing binaries that Muslim women are often boxed in, such as the modest saint versus the shameless whore, or the radical liberal versus the extremist conservative. A Muslim woman who is modest and practices hijab is not a saint, and wearing red lipstick does not turn a Muslim woman into a sinful whore. The reality is that the identities of Muslim women exist on a much more nuanced spectrum and do not fit into these unrealistic binaries. Aorta, published in 2018 by Zed Press. The synopsis. The heart beats. Hanan Hazime's chapbook Aorta searches every definition of heart, explores the meaning and method of the object and the symbol, hoping to find an answer to the way pain and pleasure digs its way into people. Hazime remaps the heart, re-explores the rhythms, and leaves the reader listening to their own heartbeats. an anatomically accurate examination of my heart. Trunk of uncertainty, left common sense artery, distressed hollows, left subclavin sentimentality, right pulmonary ache, arch of anxiety, ligamentum adventuresome, ascending fear, left pulmonary passion, trauma trunk, left pulmonary pain, right pulmonary pain, left auricle of anxiety, right atrium of affection, circumflex branch of resilience, right auricle of anxiety, left courageous artery, anterior creative vein, left love ventricle, right love ventricle, great creative vein, right courageous artery, small creative vein, virtuous vena cava, anterior faith branch, love. Kintsugi, or the art of repairing broken hearts. Lately, I see my reflection better in shattered mirrors as I'm searching for the fragmented pieces of me, of I, of myself, of you, of us, but a whole can never be whole again, and I can't line the fractures in my atrium with gold or repair the tears in my tendons, the way the Japanese decorate their broken pottery, because my heart is no ornament, and it cannot be remanufactured, and my wounds are not wilted flowers to be watered back to health. And even though the heart is one of the first organs to form, it still takes 9 months to fully grow a human. So why was I born at 6 then? What a miracle, they said. Why, she's as tiny as a doll, but I was no porcelain figure. No, I was soft tissue, malleable bones, barely functioning lungs, and sometimes I wish I never learned to breathe on my own, never left my mother's womb. But that's not the point. No, when my favorite teacup cracked, I could not mend it. I could not glue the ceramic back together with gold lacquer because I'm too broke to afford precious metals, to afford lavish therapy. And people like us, from broken systems, broken families, broken bodies, and broken brains, cannot be fixed because human hearts are not manufactured but grown. Holding my breath in seawater. Tears are supposed to taste like the sea, but mine are vinegar flavored, and I've been eating an absurd number of Skittles and puking rainbows everywhere with a smile on my face because cheer up, they said. There are worse things like famines and bombs, and you're just ungrateful. So why can't you see that this is all the will of God, though? How can it be when it is people who pull triggers? You know, just leave me alone. I want to dream of drowning with Rue in my hands like Ophelia did, since to be or not to be isn't a good question, and it only takes 20 to 60 seconds for your lungs to fill up with seawater. But what if you had already discarded your lungs on shore? Maybe that's why I can't breathe every time I think of them. Probably accidentally gave them my lungs instead of my heart. Oh well, it'll be fun swimming with the mermaids. I hope they like goldfish crackers. Still, who am I kidding? In the original fairy tale, the Little Mermaid turns into foam because there's no such thing as happy endings. We're all hopelessly lost in this labyrinth. Besides, whoever said to live is to suffer probably didn't know that endorphins can abolish all sensation of pain. If you injure yourself enough, you'll become numb, which makes detaching your damaged heart from your body a whole lot easier. So you won't even need anesthesia. Perhaps my heart would be better served on a golden platter after being marinated in honey. Who would be brave enough to sink my left ventricle in between their teeth? What a ridiculous question. People have been tearing at my flesh for years, so maybe turning into foam isn't such a bad idea after all. At least then the other mermaids will eat my heart instead of these humans with no humanity. You know we cannot die because we're already dead, And it turns out that drowning isn't painless. It burns until everything is blue and you're all alone and I will always be there is the biggest lie ever told because nobody is there when I cry. I long to taste the sea, but I don't.